Hi, One Goal community. It's Elaine Boyd, Pelotonia's Event and Volunteer Operations Coordinator. Since 2008, Pelotonia has raised over $236 million for innovative cancer research. And thanks to our partners, 100% of those funds have gone directly to research at the James at Ohio State. Together, we will see an end to cancer. To get involved in our One Goal, visit pelotonia.org. That's pelotonia.org, or click on the link in the episode notes.
This podcast is powered by Pelotonia. To learn more about our goal to end cancer, visit pelotonia.org or see the link in the show notes.
It's kind of a community cause that draws you in.
You know, it seems daunting, but it's really not. You know, people go through a lot harder things than riding their bike 100 miles.
Every time I saw somebody holding up a sign that said, "Thank you for saving my mom's life," I just thought to myself, you just made my day.
I'm all in.
Welcome to One Goal, a storytelling podcast from Pelotonia. We're a passionate community dedicated to funding innovative cancer research. I'm your host and president of Pelotonia, Joe Apgar. Your journey with us to the finish line begins now. Pelotonia is powered by an unstoppable community, and it's through research we will see an end to cancer. We want to thank our major funding partners for making all of this possible: the American Electric Power Foundation, Bath & Body Works, Huntington, Peggy and Richard Santulli, and Victoria's Secret. When you're done experiencing this episode, we'd be honored if you would leave a review and share it with family and friends. This really helps extend the impact of this series and helps further our One Goal. Thank you. And now, on to the episode. In this episode, we're going to do things a little differently. Instead of one inspiring story, you're going to hear a whole collection. We're transporting you back to the Pelotonia 2022 launch party at Pins Mechanical Company. This is a community that's 100% all in for our One Goal, and we wanted you to hear the passion and dedication that defines this movement. So with that, let's begin.
My name is Jody Pierpoint. This will be my second year in Pelotonia, and I started doing this because I was a cheerleader for all my friends first, and then I was able to do this because I received a prosthetic. I was born without my left arm, so it was made for the bike that I bought for Pelotonia. That was my overall dream, is to get a prosthetic so I could ride a bike and do this. There is a company, a nonprofit in Columbus called Form 5 Prosthetics. They make prosthetics free of charge. We got together, we planned it out, they designed it, and that's how I got it.
Our first ride was around the courtyard at the Pelotonia offices. My first ride,
yes. That first time, it was like giggling, laughing. My friend here witnessed me doing it the first time. And you were started off really slow, and then it got fun, and then I was just kind of like flying around the parking lot. That for last year, crossing in New Albany, that finish line, I mean, the emotions that came through that, I don't think I'll ever be able to explain that again. Because first of all, I didn't think I would ever be able to ride a bike. But then second of all, is just seeing how many people and being part of this family. It was just kind of amazing altogether. And right now I can tell you, my friend right here is living with cancer today. And she was the reason I was standing outside cheering her on. We were standing outside in the sun of the 90-degree August weather in Pelotonia for years. And I said, I'm going to figure out a way that I can get on a bike and do this too.
Linda Richards. I've been friends with Jody for about 6 years now. It's the same with her. I knew people that had ridden for years and years, and I helped people raise money. And then in 2017, I said, I'm going to do this myself. I know I can. I'm going to ride. And so I was training, and in the middle of training in June, 6 weeks before Pelotonia, I was diagnosed with cancer. I mean, not only have I lost people in my life, now I have this, and there's no cure for it. My grandmother died of breast cancer. My aunt died of colon cancer about 4 years ago. So, I have family, I have friends, that have been affected. And personally, I don't have a lot of day-to-day symptoms and that kind of thing. I'm on medication every day. I have to take medication. So I feel lucky. Even though I'm living with it, it's not as bad as a lot of people have it. So I'm grateful for that. but it's still important to get the research done. The first year, like as soon as I crossed the finish line, I just broke down crying, and it came from nowhere. I just was like, I can't believe I just did that. So the 57, I signed up, so I'm going for it.
My name is Silvio Fernandez, and my research is from brain cancer, specifically for DNA cages, and identify some brain tumor cells, and work in the immunohistochemistry and image analysis segmentation. First of all, I have a personal motivation, right? I have 3 or 4 friends and more, my uncle, my grandfathers. We have a history in the family for cancer. Every day when I walk and I wake up and remember this is my family and my friends that pass away, and I ask for myself every day what I can do for help. I know it's very hard. I know it's a complex puzzle, but any puzzle finish when you have all the pieces, and I can become a small piece of this puzzle. And for me, it's a pleasure because I receive now my Pelotonia fellowship, and I can develop my research for 2 years from now. And this, for me, is a dream. Ohio State University and Pelotonia opened this door for me, and I'm very glad for this. I need training, right, because I don't ride in the bike. I chose just 20 mile, and my son helped me with training. And in August, my wife, my son, and I running in Pelotonia. I have a personal goal. Ride in Pelotonia, focus in my research, and try, like I said before, put a small piece in this big puzzle.
Chris Lallier, and I'm on Team Grandview. I started cycling to ride in Pelotonia to help support family members who are survivors. And through riding, I noticed a tumor. It turned out to be a tumor, and so I finally got it checked out after a couple months of neglecting it and saying, it's probably nothing. And turns out within 2 weeks, I was having surgery to have the tumor removed. Emotionally, it took me several months to really let it sink in. It was after my surgery, and then there was about a month before I started my treatment, my chemotherapy. And it was during the chemotherapy phase that it really hit me. About a week before the start of the 2018 ride, I was given a diagnosis of being cancer-free. But I still felt like I had the chemotherapy drugs in my system, and I rode 45 miles, and it was the hardest 45 miles I've ever ridden. It was very emotional. I rode with Team Grandview down to the start line, and I was able to meet one of our team members who's no longer with us, who was tragically killed in a bike ride, actually, Shin Isaka, who was one of our team riders. And so along the way, I told him my story to the start line, and he said to me, "Thank you for sharing your story. You just made my day." And then throughout the ride, I just kept that thought with me, like, you just made my day. Every time I saw somebody holding up a sign that said, "Thank you for saving my mom's life. Thank you for riding," I just thought to myself, you just made my day. This year, I signed up for 102 miles, and my wife has decided to ride. So on Sunday, I'm going to ride 38 miles with her. The both of us are all in for Pelotonia.
My name is Fiona Brown, and I am currently a graduate fellow of Pelotonia. So, funny story, the first interaction with the Pelotonia was when I first moved to Columbus, and I started seeing all these green arrows around Columbus, and I was very confused. I was like, why are people so into DDR? DDR is this great video game where you dance, and the way that they tell you how to dance is based on arrows. You've got up, left, down, left, and right, and so the arrow of Pelotonia looks exactly like the right step for DDR. So when I'm looking at this arrow, I'm thinking step right. That's not it. So I had to ask my classmates and my friends, I was like, why are these arrows everywhere? I do not understand. it's fun cancer research. I was impressed at the size and energy around Pelotonia. Seeing the energy and the enthusiasm and the number of people who participate and just the community connection to Pelotonia was just above and beyond anything I could have imagined. When I started my graduate program, I had the idea that I wanted to work in a completely different field in bioengineering and nanoparticles. Cancer research wasn't even on my mind. My mentor, Dr. Robert Baiocchi, and I sat down and really discussed what I wanted to do as a graduate researcher, and his drive and his passion for making an improvement in people with cancer diagnoses really inspired me to then move forward. The type of cancer that we research, called mantle cell lymphoma, I had a very personal connection with a family friend who was diagnosed with this, unfortunately, in my hometown. And so hearing that word of mantle cell lymphoma and having that very emotional connection made me inspired to do my own research to try to improve his life. And then at that point, I was interviewing for various graduate programs, and I got a chance to tour at The Ohio State University, come in person, talk to professors, talk to other potential classmates, and the connection between the hospital and the research side of things really made the difference. That was what I was looking for, was that connection between the bedside and the bench side. And that's the thing we talk about a lot, and a lot of universities don't have that connection that we do have here at The Ohio State University. So I applied for the Pelotonia Fellowship towards the end of my PhD, my research as a graduate student, and I was slightly anxious to make sure that I had funding to the end of my doctoral program. But I had, lots of colleagues that had received fellowships and kind of had that confidence boost of like, I can be part of this program, I know I can do it. They say it's competitive, but I believe in my project, I believe in our work. And so being able to get that email of congratulations, you've been, accepted as a Pelotonia Fellow was it was an amazing, elating moment. And I was able to, get a big smile, jump out of my chair, run to my PI's office and say, look, I got it. So it was a wonderful moment. Every single dollar that is donated to Pelotonia helps me in two ways. One, it helps me fund my research to continue looking at new treatment avenues for mantle cell lymphoma. And two, it supplies the Pelotonia Institute for Immune Oncology, which is this wonderful new center that we have set up that has both the expertise and the facilities, the equipment, the new tools that I as a researcher am able to use to really push forward my work. We have cutting-edge tools that very, very few universities in the United States have, and that's only possible because of the funding through Pelotonia. I'm all in this year. I'm really excited about Pelotonia. I am going to be a challenger this year. I'm going to ride weekly. I am going to be writing letters to thank donors. I am going to be communicating my research. I'm going to be using social media to talk about my research. And I'm also going to be volunteering as part of the James community on the day of the ride.
My name is Melanie March, and I am the co-captain of the Columbus Young Professionals Club and the Fitness Loft Peloton. I've had several family members who have been impacted by cancer, as well as I've watched friends lose parents, lose many family members to cancer, and it's just, I'm tired of seeing friends and family go through this, and I want to one day hopefully have a world without cancer. My great uncle unfortunately passed away after a 20-plus year. He had cancer for 20-plus years, and to watch him have to go through that for so much of my life and watch him fight to be able to see his great grandchildren, his great-grandchildren. This is my fourth year, so I rode in 2019 and then just fundraised and rode with a couple of friends in 2020, and then was able to ride again last year, and I'm excited. This year my mom and I are going to ride together. It's our first year riding. I was talking to her on the phone, and she's like, I want to do Pelotonia, and we're going to do the 57-miler, but she was like, why not do more? So if we can train enough, we might do more. We are all in by actually combining two Pelotons. So the Columbus Young Professionals Club and the Fitness Loft typically were two Pelotons, and we realized that we could have much more of an impact by combining. So we are all in with group fundraisers. We're having a golf outing this year. We are going to help everyone hit their goals and go above and beyond to raise as much money as we can for cancer research. My great uncle will be really, really happy that we're raising money, and then also my grandparents, they live down in North Carolina as well, and they love seeing me do this, and they've supported me all these years, so it's been really great seeing those in my life that have been impacted by cancer support me all these years.
I'm Kevin Voorhees. I'm an 8-year rider with Bath & Body Works. When I was employed by L Brands, now Bath & Body Works, it was just kind of natural to join the cause and kind of all in, just because we lost my mother-in-law to cancer and just a bunch of friends, a bunch of mothers. So it's just a cause that's near and dear to me that I just support every year. It draws you in. Like you get the bug after 1 year. You do it your first year and you're like, what is this all about? And then the second year you go in and it's kind of a community cause that draws you in. Everybody just kind of ropes you in and pushes you to do more, honestly. And whether it's a flat tire on the road that somebody needs help changing, everybody just supports you along the way. And it's just a wonderful cause. I want to ride for my kids, so they don't get cancer in the future. I've lost my mother-in-law. My neighbor is in the last stages of her life with cancer. It's just I want to do more for the community, and I don't want this to affect people as much as it does right now in the future. If I can do something now to fundraise and find a cure, I don't want my 2 kids to go through that, in the future. It's just crazy because this is year 8, and I just feel like it snowballs and people help you out more and more. Not to toot my horn, but it's I've been in the top 10% the last 2 or 3 years, and it's just it just seems to just go easier and easier each year. The fundraising part of it, it's I can do 20 miles, I can do 50 miles, I can do 100 miles, I can do 200 miles. That's not the result that we want. We want to be able to fundraise more and support the cause of Pelotonia. But I've done everything. I've done the 180, I've done 200 miles, but I'm doing 100 miles this year. Just because I coach soccer, and a lot of that takes the time away from training. I would love to do 200 miles again, and I think I will do that sometime, but I'm all in for 100 this year.
My name is Caroline Phillips-Stevens. I'm on the Simply Community Peloton, and I'm a 14-year rider. I own a cafe downtown, and they were right across the street, the offices were. And they come in for lunch, and we chatted about the ride, and they sold me on it. I signed up for 100 miles the first ride. It just, even though the ride has gotten bigger, you wouldn't know it, really. It's still personal. It's they've improved it a lot in different ways, and it's just a great cause. So it's worth it. It seems daunting, but it's really not. It's it's a very exhilarating at the finish, and it's well worth it. And for me, it's not that hard compared to going through cancer. I always think about that as I'm riding. People go through a lot harder things than riding a bike 100 miles. So it's not a race, it's a ride. So it's just out enjoying the countryside, and make sure you do some training, but just enjoy it. This is a great organization. The ride is always well run. It's a very good cause. I mean, I've had people affected close to me with cancer, and I just want to see the end of cancer in this world. A couple family members have had cancer and had their battles, but just everybody has, you just hear stories, and it's just, I don't want to see anybody suffer. And if I can help in any way, I want to. And it's something that I enjoy doing. I'm all in. 14 years. You can't be more all in than that.
This has been One Goal, a storytelling podcast from Pelotonia. I'm your host, cancer survivor and president of Pelotonia, Joe Apgar. Interview and production scheduling by our marketing and communications team, Gabby Blauert, John Tolbert, and Alita Smith. One Goal is carefully crafted, produced, and mastered at the studios of Wessler Media. Special thank you to all of our guests for being so willing to share their inspiring journeys for this podcast. Also, please rate, review, and subscribe so you can listen to previous episodes and receive notifications about future ones. If you want to learn more about the Pelotonia community and how you can make an impact on cancer research, see the link in the show notes or visit pelotonia.org. That's pelotonia.org.